All right, shalom, shalom. Brakati Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. All right, double honors to the apostles and elder bishops at Great Millstone. Shalom to you, Hakim. All right, who are pushing the work in truth and in sincerity. All right, coming back at you with another one. And the name of this one is He Must Be Terrified and Losing His Mind. All right, he being E, all right, must be terrified and he's about to lose his mind. Okay. And as we can see, Esau, Edom, so-called, all right, white man, all right, is playing a major role, all right, in this earth. Okay, he plays a major role in prophecy. You know, when you read the book, plays a very significant role in that, in the script that the Lord has written. All right, and we can see it in our reality. All right, and it's plain as day. Okay, at this point, the Lord has made it clear, through the Spirit, dealing with the men of the Lord, all right, his servants, his prophets, have made it clear the hypocrisy, all right, the level of wickedness, all right, in the sheer disregard of the Most High, all right. We expose that, and that's exactly what you get, all right, when you're dealing with the so-called white man, okay. So they've proven who they are, okay. You ain't got to listen to what we say no more, I guess, you know. But we came here to warn you, all right, and simply just that, okay, to warn you, all right. So Revelations 12:12, we can start here, all right. But this man is afraid, and he's moving as such. He's moving as one that has no control, all right. He's moving as, a sociopath, all right, a man that has practically lost his mind and given all the way into his pride, all right, okay, as a response to the fear. All right, now I believe through the Spirit, and I've heard elders say it, we've been saying it for years that, Esau, all right, he must have seen something, all right. His motivation has to be, and I know for sure because the scriptures say it, his motivation, all right, and what I mean by motivation, the fear, okay, all right, it came from the Most High, all right, the signs, all right, the men of the Lord, which were a huge sign in this time, Revelations 11:8, and us waking up, all right, it really stirred them about, and they're seeing their numbers dwindle, okay, and so what? They're going to go to war with everyone, all right, he being E, okay, so Revelations 12:12, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them, all right, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, all right, meaning deceiver, okay, is come down unto you, all right, having great wrath, all right. I think another word for deceiver is an accuser, all right, because Esau definitely plays this role of, oh, there it goes, a false accuser, he definitely plays the role of the diablos, all right, or diabolos, all right. Let's see what it says.
Strong's G 1228. Diabolos.
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 He is the diabolos in the flesh. Okay? It says here, devil, here, false accuser, slanderer. And we know Esau is the accuser of his own brother. All right? He slanders his own brother. And that's what the so-called white man has done, all right, throughout the centuries to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And the truth came out that you were the savage. You were the one raping, robbing, and pillaging. You were the one killing innocent women, children, men. You the one that started the turmoil, started the wars, so that you can gain the earth through the sword, which is your blessing. All right. And now what we see today is what Esau padding the stats, you know, putting forth stats to back up his own narrative or to push a certain narrative so that he can pinpoint the tribes and mainly the truth. Okay, because he wants to point out that we're the scum of the earth, that we're the axis of evil, and that's just not true. And this man believes his own bullcrap. He believes his own bullcrap. All right, he believes that he is pure and white and holy, and everything outside of him is just trash. All right, but the truth is out, and anyone that has eyes and anyone that has ears sees the hypocrisy. You see the lies, the filth. All right, the slandering. Okay. All right, and the Lord had made it so. All right, but everything Esau has done, all the way up until this point, right, it's only led him further or closer to his own destruction. Okay. And so if you thought we had something to worry about because of the troops, Jacob's trouble, well, let me tell you, Esau has something way more. All right. Way more in concern. All right. He should be concerned about the Most High. All right. Okay. Which your imagination can't take you from what is about to really take place. All right. And we're talking about a dreadful, a very terrifying execution of judgment upon these people who parade themselves to be, holy and perfect. Okay, but you're not. That's why you got to hide history. All right. So I digress. I go back. Revelations 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, Diabolos, all right, is come down unto you, the slanderer, right, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right. How does he know? And he knows he has a short time, but what? The signs in the heavens. You knew when we received this truth, when you seen the Great Awakening, that was a sign of your downfall. Okay. And the scripture said you feared. All right. And you know you have a short time. All right. And Esau, don't let him fool you. He is afraid. And we are grievous to behold. So that's why he's clenching tighter. He's about to squeeze even tighter. Why? Because it's gotten to the point where he just can't take it no more. And they have to create diversions and generate crises so they can bring in order ab chaos, so they can bring in their essentially their NWO. All right, in the MOTB. Okay. Because that's the only chance you got. And really, that ain't no chance at all. Okay, Revelations 11:8, it says, and their dead bodies, all right, shall lie in the street of the great city. Okay, now the dead bodies represents the Israelites. The great city represents America. Okay, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. All right, it's spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. Why? Because they portray the same spirit, okay, as Sodom and Egypt. All right. And we know Sodom was heavy into idol worship and also, the libiquita, as you could say. All right. Sexual perversion. All right. On levels that the earth has not seen before, Okay. So much so they tried to take, an angel. All right. And do whatever they wanted with him. All right. But moving on. All right. It says, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues, all right, shall see their dead bodies. Now, the dead body is a simile, or not a simile, but is, I guess you could say, metaphor, okay, for being in a destroyed state, okay, being in a decayed state of living, okay. In actuality, we can go to the word dead because it's dealing with a fallen state, all right. Let's see here. Yeah, downfall, right? So the Greek word here.
Strong's G 4430. Doma. Doma.
Right. And we fell away, okay? A fall, downfall, metaphor, a failure, defeat, calamity. Why? Because we ultimately, of the curses that we inherited, because we didn't keep the law, statutes, commandments of the Heavenly Father, we transgressed His word. All right. And as Daniel 9, the 9th chapter, the 11th verse goes into, you know, that law, all right, that Moses gave to the nation of Israel. Well, let's just get it, Salaki. All right. Daniel 9 and 11, it says, yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, all right, because we have sinned against him. And he hath confirmed his words. This is what I want to say. He confirmed his words, all right, which he spake against us. That's Deuteronomy 28. And against our judges that judged us, and by bringing upon us a great evil, for under the whole heaven have not been done as hath been done upon Jerusalem. Okay. All right. And so we suffered the curse. Okay. And we've been under the foot, all right, and under the rulership of the so-called white man due to our transgression. All right. And that's why we're here suffering in Babylon. Okay. And now Esau is about to take it upon himself to eradicate us. But the Lord said what? That, you know, essentially our transgression had came to an end. All right. But he's about to take it upon himself to try to destroy us utterly. Because the Lord ain't, you know, done anything, all right, in return for him, you know, punishing and oppressing the children of Israel, but he will. Okay. And that's the point of this lesson. You're afraid, all right, more than they would let you know. And that's why they're moving so aggressive. Okay. They know about the angels. They know about the chariots. They ain't no fools. Okay. They know the history. They ain't no fools. All right. So they should know when they see them signs that the Lord is not playing. Okay. And so even though they ain't no match, they got to put up somewhat of a fight, which it really ain't no fight at all. So Lamentations 4:21 really quick, and then I'm gonna get back to my lesson because I'm kind of straying away from it. It says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. But it's the spirit anyway, Salakia. So it says, the cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. And that's what's been happening. All right. Now he's drunken in his pride, in his wickedness, and doing uncontrollable things, and he has absolutely no control. All right. And he's made himself naked. Okay. And everybody sees your nakedness. Everybody sees the secrets that you that have been hidden away, and now they're exposed, and they've been exposed for some time. All right. That is the Lord's doing. All right. He even had it to where even your own people of your own kind will come out and bear witness against you. All right, for the things that you've done undercover. All right. For verse 22, it says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. So the punishment of our iniquity was accomplished. That was slavery, right? That's why it says here, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. Right? Why? Because we served it. Okay. But what Esau is trying to do, he's trying to make us perpetual slaves, because the promise was that they were going to serve. The elder shall serve the younger. Okay. So they're trying to make us perpetual slaves. All right. Opposite of what the promise is for us. Okay. And in reality, we weren't supposed to, drink that cup, but we had to. So it was ordained that we, essentially, we were subject to that vanity. Okay. So he will visit thine iniquity. All right. So we're not going to be carried no more into captivity, but we know Esau's trying to do that through his NWO. Right. And it says he will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sin. So what's happening is that the Lord is discovering Esau's sin. He's searching out his counsels. He's searching out your works in the earth. Okay. It was 6. Yeah. He's searching out your works in the earth. And this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 1. And basically, at the Lord's coming, he's going to despise her image. All right. All right. Which is the current society. All right. That you're trying to uphold. Let me see if it comes up. Yep. Let me just cue that up. I'm going to read this. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 1. Hear therefore, O ye kings, and understand, learn, ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. Give ear, ye that rule the people, and glory in the multitude of nations. Right. So you got glory because you have control of the multitude of the nations. You're supposed to give ear unto the Lord. But the scriptures say that your mouth speaketh against the heavens. All right. Okay. And it says you are likened unto the deaf adder who won't succumb to the charms of a charmer. All right. And those are the prophets. Okay. All right. You completely ignored the Most High, and nor do you look to the Most High for counsel to run your kingdom. You completely do away with it. All right. What hast thou to do to declare my statutes? But the whole time you declaring that you're a Christian, Judeo-Christian, that you believe in God, you're the children of God. You should have lived. You should have. You had no chance of living up to that standard. Okay. Which proves you had no choice in this thing, just like we didn't. Okay. Which, and in the oncoming judgments, you ain't gonna have no control over that as well. All right. So moving on, it says, for power is given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works and search out your counsels. Because being ministers of his kingdom, ye have not judged right, nor kept the law, nor walked after the counsel of God. You see, horribly and speedily, this is what you're afraid of, shall he come upon you, for a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in high places. You in trouble, mister. Right? That's why Lord said, don't fear what man can do to you. We ain't nothing but pawns in the game, buddy. And guess what? You got to face the king of terrors. You got to deal with him. You see? And Lord willing, we doing what we're supposed to do. But nigga, you got to deal with him. You see? In his wrath, in his anger. And ain't nothing going to be able to stop that. So you scared. You got to be scared. You got to be scared. All right? This is Psalm 65 and 8. It says, they also that dwell in the uttermost parts. Who dwell in the uttermost parts? All right, Esau. Okay, are afraid at thy tokens. They're afraid at the tokens. The tokens are the signs. And one of the biggest signs, we got to go back to Revelation. All right. One of the biggest signs was us awakening. All right. And there's other signs that came, which motivated you. We use that term through fear, I guess, you know, to move the way you've been moving. Revelations 11. All right. And you know what? I get straight to the point. 11 and 11. And after 3 days and a half, all right, 3 days and a half, which represents 350 years, approximately, from 1619 all the way up into what I believe, what they say, 2019 or something like that. I'm not going to do the math, you know. Salaki on that. All right. So it says after 3 days and a half, you could do the math. All right. The spirit of life from God entered into them. All right. Because remember, we were dead bodies in the great city. Okay. And being dead, we was in a fallen state. All right. We was in a decayed state. Okay. As a people. All right. Not even treated as human. Okay. We had to fight for the right to be treated or looked at and viewed as human. And then we had to fight for what they call civil rights. But we never really had rights. So we were essentially a dead people on the earth. But the Lord had put the spirit of life into us, all right, via his words, okay? And he's gathering us through his words, all right? And he's woken us up in the spirit, meaning to invigorate, all right, to quicken. He's quickened us with his word, so we know judgment, all right? We understand the operations of the Lord's, you know, of the Lord's, you know, his way, his creation, okay? Remember, Esau, the so-called white man, he would put us to death. There was laws on the book that prevented us from reading, writing. All right, you can't forget that. You know, in diabolos, the Greek word for slander, deceiver. All right. So after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet. And that's the result of us receiving this truth. That's what the Great Awakening was all about. The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans waking up from their slumber, from their oppressors, all right? And realizing that we were without God in the world, in the earth, and calling upon a God which gave us life and woke us up. Because we know now who we truly are. And we know that you are the devil, diabolos. And great fear fell upon them which saw them. So we know you afraid. And that's going to even make you even madder. But that's perfect. Because just like the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, that's what's happening to Esau right now as we speak. And I've seen elders kind of reference this. You know, Pharaoh, we've been talking about the Lord hardening Pharaoh's heart. Well, Esau, Edom is the new Pharaoh. Hell, you put it in the movies. And at one point, I believe the Seleucid Empire did rule Egypt. The Edomites did rule Egypt. A lot of you Egyptologists and Kemetic people are mad. Just because you niggas don't know history. That's your fault. But anyway, just like the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and here we go, Romans 9:17, for the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for the same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might shew my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth. So what do you think the Lord is doing? All right. When to Esau, he's hardening his heart so that the Lord can show his power. You see? And the Lord, all right, is about to show you who he is. Okay? You know what? I ain't got to get Wisdom of Solomon 2. I guess Wisdom of Solomon 12 and 17. And it says here, for when men will not believe that thou art of a full power, because that's what Esau at right now. He don't believe he's gonna keep moving in such a way, okay, that defies the Most High Yahweh Basham Yahushua. Okay, I was supposed to read this. He's moving in such a way that he despises the Most High. Okay, right. So for when men will not believe that thou art of a full power, thou shewest thy strength. All right. Okay, and among them that know it, thou makest their boldness manifest. All right. So Esau is in the state of what? He's in the state of disbelieving the Lord, right? Not really calling to mind the Lord's power. So Ecclesiastes, that's what I want. Okay, Ecclesiastes 8 and 11, it reads, because sentence against the evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. So he's fully set in his evil ways. And you can tell because the system, the government system, which is Pitt, right, is completely and utterly corrupt on a level that we've never seen corruption. Okay, we ain't never seen this level of corruption. Every facet of government, every level of government has been corrupted one way or another. And they corrupt justice because what? It ain't justice anymore that gets you by, right? It ain't equity and fairness of the law, right? Which is supposed to free man. It's supposed to give man liberty. Now money gives them liberty because the root of all evil is the love of money. Love of money is the root of all evil. And guess what runs this society? Money. And it ought not to be that way, but that's how this society is run. And that's in violation because it's not equitable. It's not a fair balance. And they tilted the scales all the way to wicked. And they're in the spirit of, we don't believe the Most High. Wisdom of Solomon 12. Yeah, so 12 and 17 read that. Let's go here because I'm supposed to read this earlier. Psalm 73 and 20. Let's see here. Yeah, 73 and 20. I'll just read it really quick. As a dream when one awaketh, so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. Okay? So the Lord is going to despise their image at his coming. Okay? And boy, don't they have to deal with, they got to deal with the Lord, man. They got to deal with him. All right? So now I can get to the precepts I got written down. All right? And it's pretty much based off of this one, Psalm 65 and 8. They also that dwell in the uttermost parts of the are afraid at thy tokens. So they're afraid at the signs. So they were afraid when we woke up. Okay? And how much more now that we've woken up all over the earth? And we didn't do it, and that's the crazy thing. We didn't do it through pamphlets, flyers. We didn't have to fly out. Right? It was the spirit of the Lord. It was the internet, the thing that they created. So you think his heart ain't dropped when he's seen that he'd lost the information war? That he's seen that people will start waking up, even his own people start telling on him? You don't think he was afraid? You didn't think he noticed that? Oh, hell yeah, he noticed all of that. And that's why they're going to come with so much wrath. Hell, they might secretly come after the prophets, the men of the Lord. That's how bad they want us. But the Lord is protecting us. And that's for darn sure. All right? Because all he has to do is press a button and we're done for. Okay? That's why I know this is definitely definitely being controlled by the Lord, right? So we dealt with the main precept, all right? And the Lord has always shown tokens. He's always shown signs and wonders, all right? But guess who he's always shown them to? He's always shown them to his prophets, the men of the Lord. We know what precept we're going to, Amos 3, all right, and 6. Shall the trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? So you think Esau ain't afraid when he heard, when we talking about the men in suits, the men, they've heard it, okay? You know, the regular people here, it's in one ear and out the other. But when you deal with the elites, who the Lord deal with the elites, he constantly give them visions because they empower, they're running his world. So they are on the level, all right? Somewhat of a level, okay? But we're above them according to Jeremiah, okay? We're above the kings. We're above the judges because we got the word of the Most High, all right? Remember, promotion comes from who? The Most High. The Lord establishes you. He gives you sovereignty. And this devil believed that he gave himself sovereignty. He tricked himself into believing that he gave himself sovereignty. Imagine that. So this devil's moving with some pride, a drunken pride. All right? That drunken pride. Well, that's a whole nother level. It says, shall there be evil in the city and the Lord hath not done it? Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. The lion have roared. And this is dealing with prophecy. The Most High roared. Who will not fear? The Lord Yahweh power has spoken. Who can but prophesy? You can't do nothing but prophesy. All right? You can't do nothing but prophesy. All right? And that's what you're supposed to be doing. You ain't supposed to be doing nothing else. All of this dog and pony tricks that Jake pulling, they gonna have to deal with them too. You niggas, you 2/3, you gonna have to deal with the Lord. You know, the day of the Lord. Joel 2 and 30, excuse me. And I will shew wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun, yeah, so the Lord, and that's what the Lord been doing. We send pillars of smoke. All right, that was a sign. Fire, blood, earth. Right. Wonders in the heavens and the earth. Okay, and the sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood. The blood moons, right? Solar eclipse, right? Before the great and terrible day. They know. The scholars have a timeline. They searched out all the history, and you think they ain't searched out using scholars and paying off scholars to show them what's what? They even built machines so they can see into the future. I think it's one machine they built, and it's supposed to run a series of possibilities, and the possibility never changed. The outcome never changed, and it's dealing with their fate. All right. Elder Yashawama did a video on it. And I think I did a video on it too as well. All right. That's the only reason why I remember it. Okay, because brothers brought it out. It says the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and the terrible day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord Yahweh shall be delivered. Why do you think they've been blocked? Why do you think there's it's literally a campaign against the name? They've paid individuals off not to teach the name. All right, because the individuals that got paid off to teach the name taught the name before, right? And we know there was a big split up. Camps went their way, right? And then You got brothers that stayed in the spirit and did things in the spirit, and then you got niggas that went commercial on us. They went full HD TV. They went all the way commercial. And you know what I mean by that. Okay? Them niggas is for the TV. All right? They ain't for the Lord. All right? So it says, and it came to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. All right? And those are the true worshipers. Because not everybody that calls upon the name of the Lord is going to be saved. Okay? Because they're works. All right? All right? They got works backing up their faith. All right? All right. So for in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance. Boy, that's specific right there. As the Lord Yahweh has said, and in the remnant whom the Lord Yahweh shall call. Oh boy. We know who that is. All right. Moving on, Luke 21 and 25. Just it's just hitting on the same point with the signs. All right. And the point is, ultimately, you think Esau ain't watching for these signs? All right. You think if I was him, which I'm glad I'm not, thank Yahweh Shemi I'll try to call logging. All right. You know, you think I wouldn't be watching? Because I'm trying to keep this thing going, right? The scriptures say their inward thought is that they gonna that they keep their houses, going forever. I butchered it, all right, but they want their house to remain forever. Okay, they said, "The hell with Jake. We didn't even have a life. We didn't have nothing over here. But the crumbs of Esau's gotten it. We ain't lived. We still in a fallen state. We ain't lived." Okay. So verse 25, it says, "And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth distress of nations." Ain't we seeing that right now? We're seeing that right now. Distress of nations with perplexity. All right. Meaning they're gonna be completely void of judgment, and they're not gonna know what to do. All right. They're gonna be completely lost at the things that's coming upon the earth. All right. They're gonna lose their minds as well. It says the sea and the waves roaring. All right. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. That means the governments. That means the leading bodies. All right. Isaiah 64. All right. And 1, it says, O that thou wouldest rend the heavens, meaning to tear the heaven, that thou wouldest come down, right? When we always use the term cracking the sky, because that's what's going to happen. It happens. He's going to open this realm. All right. He's going to enter into this motherfucker. All right. Excuse my language. That thou wouldest come down, that the mountains might flow down at thy presence. Because that's what's going to happen. The mountain's going to melt at his presence. Because it's going to be so mighty. It's going to be so terrible and disturbing. As when the melting fire burneth, the fire causeth the waters to boil, to make thy name known to thine adversaries. Because he coming with wrath. That and it says his chariot is fire anyway. That's Daniel the 7th chapter, the 9th and the 10th verse, I believe. It says that the nations may tremble at thy presence. So you're already scared. Wait till he show up. Wait until he show up. When thou didst terrible things which we look not for, thou camest down. The mountains flowed down at thy presence. For since the beginning of the world, men have not heard, nor perceived by the ear, neither hath the eye seen, O God, beside thee, what he hath prepared for him that waited for him. That's right. And this is what Esau is ultimately, he's mad at, because we're getting the blessing. Out of all the pain and the hurt and the trauma that they've caused, they got so much hate. They on top of sabotaging us and being the sole proprietor of the condition, or the sole creator of the condition of the so-called Negro, Latino and Native American, having us live in utter you can say chaos, having us living in utter darkness and doubt. All right, not even knowing what life is about. You see Jake's completely destroyed, and they don't have a clue what life is about, because Esau took it away from them. He took what life is and made us estranged. All right, he made us estranged. Okay, upon all of that, this dude wants to completely wipe us out. And that's why you're mad, because the Lord came with promises to heal us, and you want to see us broken forever. You want to cast us down forever. You want to stand up over us forever and say you ain't nothing, you ain't nothing. And that sounds like some hate. That sounds like some deep hateful stuff, man. And I'm talking that talk that's that Genesis 27:40. I'll just say that. Okay? Because that's a hate on a level that we never seen. All right? The nation's gonna fear at his works. All right, and what's a good example is, you said it. I mean, well, you guessed it. Exodus 15:14. And it reads, is the people shall hear and be afraid, because the Exodus was prime example for you people. All right, and you think Esau hadn't studied that, and he didn't dig up the relics, and he ain't searched the deep oceans, or to find out what's what, or the sea, I should say seas, not oceans. All right, that's my mistake. Okay, so it says the people shall hear and be afraid. Sorrow shall take hold on the inhabitants of Palestina, all right, which is Palestine. All right, in other words, Israel. Okay, then the dukes of Edom shall be amazed, and you're gonna be amazed once again. To qualify this is dealing when we left out of the land of Egypt. The nations were afraid because of all the miracles and the terrible works of the Lord. He did terrible, and that echoed throughout the known world, and it made these nations afraid. So much so that they tried to curse us. So much so that they didn't even let us pass through their land. Right? Okay. It says the mighty men of Moab trembling, and it's funny it mentioned Edom and Moab. Okay. Because these are the main two culprits in the earth right now, who's pushing a system completely opposite of life itself, the Most High system, which is his laws that govern this world, whether they like it or not. It says trembling shall take hold upon them. You ain't gonna have no control. That's scary. It says all the inhabitants of Canaan shall melt away. Fear and dread shall fall upon them by the greatness of thine arm, meaning his strength, his mightiness. They shall be as still as stone. They shall be as still as stone till thy people pass over. And it's going to happen again. We're going to pass over. This time, we're going to pass over by way of the chariots. Okay? So the Lord is going to do even a mightier work, because the scriptures say, no longer will we say, let's get that. 6 and 16? Nope. It's 16 and 6, I think. And this how we know this deliverance is going to be a bad deliverance. And by bad, I mean good. All right. 16 and 16. 16 and 15. Yep. Start at 14. God will restore them, the Israelites. All right. Days come. Yep. And it says in Jeremiah 23 and 7 as well. It says, Jeremiah 16:14, therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, the Lord Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. I know y'all seeing those chariots, and you should. And I'm speaking to Esau. We know you see it. We know you seen them. We know you seen them. Otherwise you wouldn't be moving this fast. Warp speed. Okay. It says, and from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. So you know it's gonna be bad because we ain't even gonna mention the first Egypt, the deliverance of the first Exodus. Okay, we ain't even gonna mention it. That's how bad it's gonna be. Because what? The Lord is gonna bring a strange work. He's gonna bring a strange work, and by strange we mean out of this world, Jack. So Joshua 2 and 9. It says, and he said unto the men, and she said unto the men, I know that the Lord, and I believe this is Rahab, yeah, Rahab, okay, her witness and what she witnessed, all right, and she said unto the men, I know that the Lord, and this just proves that his fame went out, okay, Yahweh hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. All right? For we have heard how the Lord Yahweh dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did unto the two kings of the Amorites. Right? And so they're going to be saying, we seen how the Lord came out and melted the whole NATO and the world's armies. All right? Who were fighting against each other. We seen the mountain that he rode upon. Okay? That's what they're gonna say this time around. We've seen the spaceships, the chariots zapping people, turning people to powdered dust and saving the children, the Lord's children. They're gonna say all that. All right. It says that we're on the other side of Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. All right. It says, and as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt. All right. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. So what are you? They're gonna faint at the sight of loam. They're gonna fall at the sight. And that's how. But this is what the Lord told us He was gonna do anyway. All right. That it's gonna be a great salvation because of you. For the Lord Yahweh, your power is He is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. All right. So here I got more Habakkuk. And I believe they're pretty much saying the same thing. But Habakkuk 3 and 6, he stood and measured the earth. All right. He beheld and drove asunder the nations, and the everlasting mountains were scattered. The perpetual hills did bow. His ways are everlasting. Yeah. All right. Because what? We're going to do it once again. All right. He's going to measure the earth because what is his? Okay. Here, let's see here. Let's see what this word measures. The Hebrew word Mawad. Mawad. Right. To be moved, agitated. Yeah, so he's like he's gonna scan the whole earth, right? And everything in the earth is gonna tremble at him. Because he owns every living being in the earth, right? It's under his jurisdiction, or you know, slacking. Let's see here. Here we go. Zephaniah 1:14. This is a good one. And it reads, it says, the great day of the Lord Yahweh is near, it is near, and hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord Yahweh. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against fenced cities and against the high towers. And that's in your fenced cities and your high towers are going to all turn into rubble, right? First it's going to melt and burn, then it's going to be turned to ash. It says, all that you built, and we're talking about all America, and America is vast, huge cities, all right? And I will bring distress upon men that they shall walk like blind men. They ain't gonna know, they ain't gonna be able to see, they ain't gonna know what to do because they have sinned against the Lord Yahweh. And their blood shall be poured out as dust and their flesh as the dung. Okay, this just meaning a lot of dead bodies. All right, neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath. Esau's collecting a pretty penny. All right, and I'm talking about securing their pockets, taking over all the land, taking over everything. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. That's going to be America. Okay. All right. He did it to us. How much more he going to do it to you Edomites? All right. He did it to the apple of his eye. How much more the wicked? All right. Let's see here. All right. Let me get one more and then we'll close it. Okay. Here, I want to see it. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Zephaniah 3:19, it says, behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee. And it's going to happen at one time. And I will save her that halted. That's just the Israelites, all right, who was spiritually broken, right? And gather her that was driven out. And I will get them praise and fame in every land where they have been put to shame. And how is he going to do that? Because it's going to happen at the very same time of his coming, when we get lifted up. Because what? The nations are going to witness it. They're going to witness it all. And they're going to know that the Lord had done this thing. And it's going to be very obvious. Zephaniah 3:20, it says, at that time I will bring you again, even in the time that I gather you. For I will make you a name and a praise among all people of the earth. When I turn back your captivity before your eyes, saith the Lord Yahweh power. So you think, yeah, Esau's mad. He's mad, right? Because we're going to get all that fame and we're going to get a mighty deliverance. And then they're going to know who our God is immediately. Okay? And then you ain't gonna hear no other name of no God. That's how much that's how dreadful the Lord is coming. You ain't gonna hear no name of no other gods, because he's coming to burn them all the statues and all of that. He's coming to get rid of the names of you ain't gonna say them no more in this earth. If you do, if you fix your mouth to say it, you might have, an angel pull up on you or one of the elect. Okay? Quick, fast, in a hurry. So with that, I'm going to end it. Lord willing, this was edifying. Until next time, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemel Shai, Bashem Rakakodash. A double honors to the apostles, elder bishops, and great millstone. Shalom to you, Aki. Shalom.